How would you describe Erin?
Very focused, and that makes her, once she's decided what she wants to do, it makes her very single-minded, which can come across quite standoffish and blunt, because she just, in her mind, she's just there to do that one thing, whether it's climbing, whether it's passing her exams.
She can be very stubborn. So when she makes her mind up about something, which is not always the best decision, it can take quite a bit of convincing that to do something differently. But she does then tend to sort of see it in a different way, but it just takes time for it to sort of, I think, sink in that actually what you're telling her is right and a good idea, but it's a long process sometimes.
I think I would describe Erin as someone who's very motivated, very single-minded and dedicated to what she does. If she sets her mind to something, she's going to do it no matter what you think of it or if you're in her way. I think she can come off as quite awkward if she doesn't really feel comfortable around someone or if she doesn't know the person. But once she gets to know someone, she does open up a lot more. You see the more chatty and sociable version of her, which I think if you know that side, she's quite funny. She's very up for doing lots of things as long as she's interested in doing them. Compromising doesn't really cross her mind, so if she doesn't see any value in doing it, then she won't do it usually. I think in general she's quite shy, motivated, dedicated and a bit annoying.
I would describe myself as pretty introverted, quite shy, hopefully funny, and very stubborn, but mostly unassuming, I think. I don't really turn heads. I don't think there's anything about me that would infer anything amazing. I got into climbing when I was about 5 years old. My dad brought me to a climbing wall. I think we were doing lots of different sports. It was just one of many. So we'd like go skateboarding and then we go climbing, and I actually did like skateboarding way more than I liked climbing. And then when we moved to Malaysia when I was about 8, we carried on climbing there, got more into it, and then we moved back to England probably when I was like 11. And then I started getting really into it. Castle Squad was when I started doing fun comps like Blockfest, which is just like regional comps in the UK, just fun. From there, through Blockfest, I heard about national comps, and then through the national comps, if you do well enough, you get invited to selection, and got on the GB team when I was 13 or 14 through that internationals like EYC's Youth European comps, and then WYCH World Youth Champs, and then through to senior comps, and now OQS. Climbing's something that for as long as I can really remember I've looked forward to. It's like, I don't know, if a good wall is reset, I'm really excited to go. Or if like there's holds, I mean they're just bits of plastic that are shaped differently, but if there's certain holds there, I get so excited, and certain walls, and like going on climbing trips, I'm going to a different country to get on the same thing that I can get on here, but it's so exciting to me, so yeah, I'd say that's why. OQS was my main goal for this past year, the 2023 season. The main goal was to qualify for OQS, because then obviously you have the chance to qualify for the Olympics. My main focus over this past off season has been to build a base for lead, because I don't really I'm not really confident in my lead base. That was sort of from from early November till now.
Why Innsbruck?
Oh, it's definitely the best facility that's near where I am. Probably some of the best lead walls and lead routes in the world, and then bouldering and a massive spray wall and a kilter board and a gym and fingerboard, so you've got everything you need and it's really high quality and it's close.
It's only, what, a 2-hour flight away, in the middle of nowhere, in the Alps.
Yeah, but it's pretty easy. Like, the flight is quite quick. There's an airport near us, and then the airport, you just get a bus to the station, and then from the station it's quite close to the wall, so. And if you've done it once, then it's not very hard to do it again.
How is this trip going to help you with AQS then?
Well, I hope it's gonna give me a bit of practice on hard routes and like compy routes, so that I'm not going into OQS unprepared. So you don't get these kinds of routes at home. The main training centre in Innsbruck is massive and it has everything you need, but it has the best lead wall in the world, and it's like really good angles, really good holds, really well set. You don't go to the UK for lead climbing, so you've got to go somewhere else.
You know what I'm going to have?
What?
A lovely can of Coke.
Can I have a bit?
No, I bought it.
Actually, I bought it, so give it to me.
You should have picked one up for yourself.
I didn't have any hands, I didn't have any space.
You did?
I didn't. Oh, this isn't fair. Callum, I'm about to put the pasta in there.
What?
Right, well, I'm not using that. That is absolutely disgusting what you've just done. No, I'm not even using that now, it's got nits in it.
We have travelled quite a lot. We've lived in 3 different countries and been moving around a lot, so a lot of the time we lost friends by moving to different schools, having to set up new friendships and new social groups. So I think we have quite a close relationship, and that's probably helped by us both being very into the same sort of sports. So why are we here?
To train. I was pulling on my shoe and I felt something in my finger change, and I've basically hurt it, and I'm not allowed on slopers or slopey pinches, and that makes leading here virtually impossible, which is what I came here for.
That's good.
Yes, perfect timing.
How are you feeling about it?
Not great.
What was your initial reaction to it?
Just not good. Wanted to test how my lead was coming on, and I have no idea now. Apart from the first day where I was feeling quite knackered and didn't really get up anything, so the feelings aren't necessarily positive.
So what are you going to do instead?
Today I'm gonna try and do some circuits on the spray wall, and see how that feels, and then probably finish off with some slabs. Let's go.
So how's the trip been?
I couldn't climb on slopers or on slopey pinches or really on full crimp, so I had to limit what I was doing. So not ideal, but I did lots of crimps, lots of slabs, and hopefully it'll clear up in the next week or two and I can come back and actually get on the routes this time, because I actually have no idea where I am on routes because I haven't really done them. It's a Plywood bot. I need to find the name of that immediately.
Can you do the one thing
I'm
so I
going
can
to do
actually
that
start
last.
cooking?
I'm going to do that last.
Otherwise we're going to have dinner in like an hour.
Callum, why don't you fill the kettle up and start boiling the bloody water then? I'm not joking.
Have you got a blue VT500 for sale?
You're not a good at it.
How well do you think she dealt with the injury from Innsbruck?
In terms of dealing with the Innsbruck injury, I think she did the right thing in Innsbruck. I think, again, it comes back to her proactiveness in utilising the team of resources that she's got. So I think she probably should have, and then, well, she did make contact with physios. She got input from them, and they told her what she could and couldn't do, but I think she could have done it even quicker. Erin,
Yeah.
do you want to, if we go to Parthian on Saturday and Sunday, given you're then going to be training with Rachel on Monday and Tuesday, do you want me to drop you in Sheffield on Sunday night?
Can do.
Before AQS, Erin had a few national comps that were potential for comp training. You have Plywood.
Plywood Masters,
Yeah.
or the material.
Very funny.
Plywood Masters is a local UK comp that's sort of pre-season, and it's known for being pretty brutal in terms of the setting. I won it in 2022 and 2023, and both times I won with one top, barely like scraping my way onto the top of the podium. And it's a pre-season comp, so a lot of the best UK climbers go, so it's good, it's a good like benchmarking. So this year I wanted to go because the setting's really hard and the competition's really strong.
And what happened?
I went in with low expectations because I was tired, but also because the week of Plywood I'd injured myself in Innsbruck. It was feeling better after Innsbruck, and then it got significantly worse, and then was Plywood. And I saw a physio the day before Plywood, and he was like, yeah, you can do it, but don't be stupid. And qualies was actually really good, and it felt fine, and then semis.
The reigning All-UK Plywood Masters champion, Erin McBeast!
I dropped out after or during the third boulder. Yeah, couldn't defend the title that time.
Erin does struggle with controlling her emotions, or I guess more specifically controlling her anger. Something she's been working on over the past few months is trying not to get so frustrated with the climbing or herself. I think while she is incredibly determined and very focused on one thing, that can sometimes be a negative. She's so focused on that, and it's so important that she achieves that when she has a few rough training sessions, or she's not performing or competing at the level she wants to be, it feels like she's failing at her goal, and she can sometimes lash out, and it's not a good look for her, but also it's not good for her mentality and her mental state, especially leading up to, you know, these big competitions.
She's needed to work on her mental game. I think that's always been something that has let her down. So if something hasn't gone well, if a comp hasn't gone well, or she hasn't reacted well to something, it's best not to deal with it straight away. Give her a couple of days to sort of get over something process what's happened, and then talk to her about it, because she's not open to talk to you about it straight away usually.
She does enjoy climbing, obviously, otherwise she wouldn't do it, but it'd be nice to see her actually enjoying the competitions themselves, because who knows how many more she'll end up doing, or how many more years.
And that's something that will come about when she's sort of towards the end of her career and she starts enjoying it for the sport rather than enjoying it for the competition.
Well, I hope it happens before then. I mean, I think she's starting to see that now, and she's lucky enough to train with other internationals, and I think she looks at those people and sort of sees how much they enjoy the process, and a lot of the process is failing.
After Plywood, I mean, I've never really seen my sister that emotional over. I've seen her angry, I've seen her frustrated, but I've never seen her upset or crying over a competition. But I mean, not too long later, she was over it and back training. There's literally nothing there.
Have it in like this cup.
Uh-huh.
Watching there.
Because you need to brew the coffee first and then put the ice in.
What will it not? Will it not brew if it's not hot?
I don't think so.
The process after Plywood was to basically, I guess, carry on training, but also make sure that my finger was 100% before the World Cup and before OQS. I've rested my finger and done some more training. Not really, it's been just maybe less of it, like less volume. Just annoyed basically, because obviously that wasn't what I was training for, but it was a competition that I was always going to do, and it would have been nice to have some sort of a benchmarking of where I was.
Plywood, I was quite proud of how she dealt with that, 'cause she obviously wanted to do the competition, but realised that there was no point in carrying on, because it was hurting her and she was only going to make it worse, and she had bigger endpoints to go for. So I know it was probably annoying that she couldn't go for the third win in a row, but it was absolutely the right decision. Maybe she should have done it a boulder earlier.
There were two things. She didn't want to stop because she wanted to be able to compete and potentially win. But I think she was more upset because she was again going to Innsbruck for quite a big training session, and she was worried that she wouldn't be able to do anything because her hand was hurting her again.
To declare it. It doesn't have a tag.
I declare.
Do you want coffee bags? Would you also like some balancey bags?
No, it's okay.
You don't want to take a couple?
Could this affect OQS?
I don't think it will. I think that there are much bigger obstacles.
Where you go from here then?
To China.
What would you say is your proudest moment?
I think like some of her best achievements we haven't been there for.
We've been there, just not physically there. But I think probably the biggest one was the semi-finaling at the World Cup in Korea.
But I think as she progresses, you become proud of different things.
I think it's like because she's constantly pushed herself onto the next level. So Blockfest, you maybe never thought she'd get through to a final, senior final, and then she did. Then you go to Plywood and you're thinking, well, she could never win, or the expectation is you probably won't win it because there's always really strong athletes there, and the same with Quiff. And then you win it, and then so you are proud, but then she's immediately on to the next thing, and then you're having to rebase your expectations on that, because you can't be saying to her, well, don't worry, you won the British League Championship, because she's no longer interested in that.
I guess I have the benefit of answering this after China, so I'd probably have to say China. I didn't decide to end up filming at China because I figured it was just going to be any other World Cup. She was in the middle of a training camp. She's not planning to peak for this. She's not planning to perform at her highest level, but she did very well. And when she made the boulder final, it was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little bonus during the training camp. And then she got into her first lead semis, but qualified fairly low in the people who did make semis, so it was like, okay, maybe she can get a top 15, maybe a top 10, and then she qualified for the lead final, which I think was a huge surprise for all of us. I think we knew her lead had improved, but we didn't know it was going to be like by that much, and that her overall combined performance was going to be that strong. And I think not only mentally, just to have that in the bag, to be a two-time World Cup finalist and be performing alongside some of the best athletes ever. Mentally, obviously, that's a great boost, but also just she doesn't have to worry that she doesn't fit in there. She's not like the imposter anymore. She's someone that belongs there and has every right to be on the same climbing wall as World Cup winners, Olympic medalists. It was a big moment for her, just in terms of feeling a bit more accepted into the international competition scene.
Were you expecting the lead final?
No, I wasn't expecting the boulder final either. I think I'm probably more excited with the boulder final and more shocked at the lead final.
Does it show your lead practice and time is turning?
Yeah, I think it shows that my base is a lot better now than it was last year, and my power endurance.
What did you learn from China? What do you need to improve?
I need to improve my paddle dynos and bouldering. My paddle dynos, you can't really practice paddle dynos in the UK because they're not set. And if they are set, they're pretty simple, like 2 or 3 moves. I struggled with it because didn't actually understand the movement. Like I didn't understand how to do that move.
So you've been practicing since?
Yeah, on whatever I can, which basically means making up.
What was one of your goals going into China?
It's like just trying to enjoy climbing and enjoy the experience. So making finals and getting to do it for getting to do it for 6 rounds was very fun.
She saw some other high-level athletes while she was training, and they were all falling off these routes that maybe they should be doing, but they were all laughing. They were all having a really good time and enjoying the process of working on something that maybe they're not so good at. And I think that's one thing Erin saw and went, I want to do that, because they look like they're enjoying themselves and I'm not. So I think that was an important decision for her.
What he thinks about that, but free kick it is for the shove on Kroos. What you would say, John, you're talking about Kroos, but down there he's clever, he feels a connection, he goes over, Carvajal's over here rolling in the halfway lane. These guys have been here before.
I look insane on this.
Been there before as well, so they're playing the game as much as anything, trying to slow City's momentum. Right, square from him to Rodri, and then Rodri to Walker. Foden wants it on the far side.
What do you think getting to the Olympics would mean for Erin?
I don't know. I think she would be like we are. I don't think she would be able to describe it, because I think it'd just be it'd be a great achievement, wouldn't it, to be an Olympian, no matter what you do at the Olympics. And with the journey that she went on, through all the first year on the World Cup circuit, getting enough points to get into OQS, the efforts that she's gone through the winter, it'd be fantastic. I'd be over the moon. I suspect she would be beyond over the moon just to be going to the Olympics and having that experience at 20 years old.
But then the trouble is,
She want more.
yeah, if she gets that Olympic ticket, she's basically going to have a month to be then Olympic ready. So, and she's not going to want to go and be 20th.
I think if Erin made it to the Olympics, it would mean a lot more to her than she would let on. I think she would be very happy with it, but I don't think she'd show it particularly. I think if she were to make Olympics and qualify through OQS, it would be probably the biggest thing of her career. But ultimately, she'd then move on to the next thing. She'd go, oh, we have Olympics then. How do I do the best in that? How do I give myself the best chance of getting a really good result? And that would then be her next goal.
I don't know. I believe in my training plan and I trust the process, so it wouldn't be like, I guess it wouldn't be validating, but it would just be like, just amazing. And I don't know, don't think I'd have any words to describe how getting to the Olympics would make me feel. I assume it would just be like how I feel with all of my achievements, except amplified to a point of like insanity.
How confident were you going into the first OQS?
I don't know. That was even more stressful because it was like only 40 athletes and everybody, all those 40 were training specifically for OQS. You were probably more confident going into it because of the results in China, but because of the results in China, you had even more belief that it was possible, so it was a lot more stressful.
Going into OQS had a very speculative sort of feel to it, because As much as she performed at Wuzhang and Kachao, it was sort of an unknown whether she'd be able to keep that performance. The OQS in Shanghai was going to be the moment we actually found out whether or not her performances were consistent.
It could be okay for going on combination, but if you actually still have to switch feed and do more like technical wise, it's just stressing out so much.
Going into the first OQS, there was sort of more excitement than there was pressure, I suppose. After the first 2 World Cups, I knew that I'd theoretically put myself in a good position in terms of like my form was good in both disciplines. The Shanghai qualies, I just remember them being relatively relaxed. I was confident in my ability in both boulder and lead, and I made the semi-finals pretty comfortably, I think. Never too much stress in that. Then semi-finals, the bouldering was obviously harder, but I did okay. The lead route in Shanghai OQS was definitely the hardest route that I got on that comp season. I think it was probably about 8C, probably closer to 8C plus. I basically thought that I hadn't made finals after that and was pretty devastated. But I did actually squeak into finals in joint 7th, so barely made it in, but it was just about enough. When I made finals, I was just happy, especially with like the OQS, because it's a qualifying event for the Olympics. It's nice to make the next round because then you have another shot to guarantee yourself more selection points. And I was just going into the final round like excited to climb again.
And what was your reaction to finals? I don't think we believed that. Then we were sitting in the lounge watching it with you as well, and we were just like, she's third. By 0.1.
I'd already put myself in a good position, so to get on the podium was like very unexpected, and I was so happy, mainly because it was my first ever international podium, and then obviously another positive was that it put me in a really, really good position to qualify for the games. Just like with every break I had between competitions in the 2024 season, I didn't want to waste the time I had between the competitions. I didn't want to like be complacent during that time, so I picked a couple things to work on. I had a month or so, and I worked on like compression moves because that was something in bouldering that I was struggling with. So I worked that style of climbing.
Did you feel more pressure after Shanghai?
Sort of flipped, like it changed. On one hand, I had put myself in such a strong position to qualify for the games that it was like people were almost thinking it was a given. And on the other hand, I don't know, nothing was ever guaranteed, so it was definitely stressful going into Budapest OQS.
Going into Budapest, Erin really only needed to get into the semis. It made her safer from other athletes who could potentially jump ahead of her. Really, that was the goal, I think, is get a good result, get into semis, and then just enjoy the climbing from there. And with Boulder Round up first, it sort of seemed that that was going to be the best way to start for Erin, given that that's her, at the time, that was her favourite discipline.
Boulder qualies, not great. After placing 16th in Boulder qualies, even though I was technically into semis and just needed an average performance in lead, I wasn't sure that I could give that, and I did think that I'd basically screwed the entire competition up and I wasn't going to get a ticket.
She was struggling with problems which you'd assume she would have been able to do, and it was just sort of a nightmare round for her. She was still in touching distance and still in a semi-final spot, but with her favourite discipline being the one that she struggled with, it was put question marks on the lead round on whether she could go into a lead route and make progress on it rather than just doing well enough that she doesn't fall back.
We knew she had the ability to pull it back, but you just never know with lead, do you? And it's such a big occasion.
Because if you make a mistake on the route reading, or if you have a slip low down, you could potentially be out of semis, and then you are really at the whim of other athletes potentially leapfrogging you in the standings. So this was do or die, essentially.
I just had so many like emotions inside when I was up there on the head wall. I managed to put myself in a really good like mental state before the lead route, so I was just like flowing through it really nicely. I wasn't really pumped until I got to the head wall, and then suddenly it like all kicked in and I was just like go 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 to the top, and I hyped the crowd up a bit, which is like the only time I've ever done that on a lead route, just because I was so happy to be up there, just so happy and relieved to be up there.
It's such a relief. I think I was filming it at the time, and the video was so unsteady because I was just so stressed.
Making semi-finals was a big step, because there are obviously loads of ways that things can go that would mean that I didn't qualify, and me making semis basically just eliminated like loads of those, but I still wasn't guaranteed after making semis. And then after the bouldering semis round, which I did pretty well in, I thought that I'd put myself in a really good position, and I was feeling like really relaxed going into lead. I climbed the lead route well and I got into finals. When I came down off the lead route and I looked to a screen that was just off the side of the lead wall, and I couldn't read it because my eyesight isn't very good, but I saw a GB flag on like 5th or 6th position, and I knew that I'd made it into finals, and that alone is a pretty great feeling. But then paired with the fact that it meant that I'd basically guaranteed myself an Olympic ticket along with another round of climbing was like just the best feeling of elation ever, especially after the day before where I thought that I'd completely messed up my chances. Getting on the podium again so soon, because I think getting on the podium in Shanghai showed me that I could do it. I just didn't know when I could do it again, and then to do it again at my next chance was like, I was sort of just shocked, oh my god, I'm up here again. I can do this consistently, and I can perform when the event demands that I can perform, and that felt so good, because you've got to have a good mindset to do that, and it's now something that I'm really confident about because of like the high pressure events that I've done and performed at. I felt confident that I could go to the Olympic Games, the biggest event in the world, and actually perform well.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, isn't it? It's quite a big event as well, wasn't it? It was the biggest event I've ever been to. There's loads of people in the park, and then yeah, we used to. We haven't been to very many World Cups where she's done well, so we're not really. I've been to Prague where she didn't do very well, I think. And I went to one in Bern where she didn't do very well. Yeah, so it was weird, wasn't it? Because you sort of, I don't know, you wanted to go and congratulate her, but then she got mobbed by people, which is also weird.
Well, one of them. You ready?
Yeah.
That is nice.
And the Team GB with the Olympic symbol. Oh my god,
Oh my.
is that what I have to wear to the opening ceremony?
No, oh, just wait till you see the opening ceremony. I really want to go put this on, but this.
Go and put it on. Is it trousers? A trouser? Did you get the choice of skirt, or was it just
It
trousers?
was just trousers.
You can wear that afterwards,
Look
can't
at the
you?
inside of it.
Oh wow.
Like with a pair of jeans. Would you wear that again? Then?
Yeah, but I think people would just be like, oh. The closing ceremony outfit is like one that a middle-aged dad would wear on holiday.
Dad.
Ready for an adventure.
I'm ready for an adventure. A bit tight around mine.
Round everything.
No, not everything.
You literally look like...
Hey! Climb up there! Climb up there!
Did the mentality change after AQS?
It didn't really shift. I think if anything, OQS or Budapest showed me how important it is that I just enjoy it, because I think for Budapest I was so focused on getting the ticket that I didn't take it one climb at a time, and I think that's the reason that Boulder Qualies didn't go very well. So I wanted to make sure I was going into the games in the mindset of just enjoying every single move and every single climb and every single experience that came with going to the Olympics.
What was your expectations going into Paris?
The realistic one was just
to go and enjoy it.
yeah, that was the hard work had been done, and you made it to the Olympics. So it was more
Just
about
go and enjoy every experience. So she went to the opening ceremony. She stayed in the village, just so that you get the entire sort of, you know, it may be a once in a lifetime, you know, event, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future to your career.
I don't think I really had a result goal going into Paris. I knew that it was possible for me to make finals, but I also knew that it was going to be really difficult. Everyone is like at their peak physical condition at the games, and it's the top athletes of the world competing. So I knew that I didn't want to make that a goal and then be disappointed if I didn't make the Olympic finals, because that's a massive goal, and not one that you should be disappointed in not doing, I think, especially me at that point in my career.
Finals was looking like it was possible, but it would be very difficult because she needed people ahead of her to fall off earlier than her, and people behind her to not make too much progress. And I think she had Mori about 10 points behind her, and you just think Mori on a lead wall against Erin, you're probably thinking she's going to go ahead of her. And then you've also had Cheyenne behind her, who's also incredibly strong at lead. But there was the opportunity. During the day off, it was like just sort of in your head calculating, if this happens, then this, and then if this person gets a bit higher, then she's out, or if this person falls off, then she's in, and it was all very stressful. And I think by the time the lead qualities had started, in my head I knew which athletes needed to get a certain point swing and all this.
I remember being quite calm and just rolling through the moves. Missing that hold on the head wall I was really devastated with it, because when you're that high up on a lead route, every single move it accounts for so many points. So I thought I'd maybe screwed myself over, and maybe that one little mistake would cost me finals, and I was sure that it would for like an hour and a half afterwards as well. That in like the athlete bit, where they have a little TV screen and just watching people just doing all the maths of who could overtake me and stuff. And I was just sure that I'd be like 9th or 10th. There were 2 more people who could overtake me, but one of them could, and I'd still be in finals. So only I only needed to stay ahead of one person. And then someone just fell off, and it wasn't enough points to knock me down. I just couldn't believe that I was an Olympic finalist.
all I remember is knowing that she'd got through, and then at some point I saw her at the front, but not at the front where all the crowds gathered, and so I jumped over the thing and went and congratulated her, When I went back to my seat, I almost jumped back over the seat, caught my foot on it, almost fell over, knocked myself out. But I didn't.
Did you think there was any chance of a podium?
You always think there's a chance.
I think you're then up against like the 8 strongest combined athletes in the world, one of which is Yang.
Yeah.
It kind of twisted from can she make finals to can she make the podium? Can she somehow get in that top 3?
Everyone was quite on edge and serious, and it was just like an incredibly intense environment to be in and try and be light-hearted. So I'm happy that I was able to stay calm. I mean, it was definitely possible. It was obviously hard, but it was definitely possible. And going into lead, I was just incredibly nervous. The prospect of this lead climb and how I climb this will determine whether I get an Olympic medal is a pretty big thing to be climbing for. Made some very questionable beta choices that no one else made, basically. And I fought to my dying breath on the head wall and before, because I was pumped really early on because of my beta choices. I was probably the most pumped I've ever been when I came off. So I remember getting to the floor and looking at my coach and just like shaking my head. Not necessarily like a disappointed shake, but almost like an exasperated shake, because like I'd messed it up pretty badly, but I'd still managed to get really high, and I was just absolutely done in. So I couldn't have really asked for a better fight on the Olympic lead route.
In the end, it wasn't quite enough. Just missed out by, I think it was 15, 20 points. I think even then, a 5th place at the Olympics, coming 5th in the biggest sporting event in the world it's a crazy accomplishment to say you're, the 5th best in your sport. I mean, seemed impossible going into this season. I think when I started to think of this documentary, I didn't really think she'd make Olympics. Judging by her previous results and her performance and where she was at. So she proved me wrong quite drastically.
I wanted to do the rest of the World Cup season just because I'd only gone to 2 World Cups that year. And therefore, I'd only gone to 2 World Cups where I was actually at the level to be like making finals and stuff. So I wanted to do more of that. And after the Olympic finals, my coach said something like, "You're going to have a World Cup medal really soon." And that just made me like so motivated, and it just made me want one so badly because it'd been a goal for such a long time. So I had like 4 chances or something, 4 more World Cups that season, and I really, really wanted a medal at least one of them.
Copa, she had a really, really good competition, then made a pretty big route reading error in the finals and then fell off. Prague, qualified in first place in qualification, and then got peeled out of finals from 5th or 4th and dropped down to 10th. And came to Seoul and you just thought, come on, it has to be one of these.
The Boulder World Cup in Seoul, I messed up Boulder semis but managed to just about scrape into Boulder finals. And I think I just was so motivated after nearly missing out on Boulder finals that I sort of went into the finals thinking, I'm going to get a medal. And somehow it worked and I got a medal.
So what's next for Erin then?
She's retiring. You heard it here.
What's next? Well, a full World Cup season, pretty much.
She wants to do a full season, so she's planning on doing most of the season. I think she's looking forward to World Champs.
And we don't know what the training's gonna... We hope the training's worked, but we've got that doubt again, haven't we, for the first one in China, to see where she is compared to everybody else and whether the training's added another step to her. Chili's not convinced. Big challenges this year will be that she's not an unknown anymore. So, yeah, I assume she'll be going to these competitions and people will know who she is and will be expecting that she'll make semis and have a good showing. And obviously that's not... last year she was a bit of a surprise package, I think.
So I think people will be excited to see if she can continue that progression.
Yeah.
Next for Erin is probably, with a full World Cup season now, I'd imagine it's to win a gold, win a World Cup. I know she wants to win both disciplines, and that would be a huge achievement for her. I think she just wants to improve as a competitor, improve as a climber, and the way she's been going, it seems like she probably has improved quite a lot, and hopefully that shows come the first competition in China.
The 2025 World Cup season is already upon us. I fly out to Asia tomorrow evening for the China World Cup, same place as last year. But this time last year I think I was making my first Lead World Cup finals, so hopefully this time this year, in a week, I'll be making my first Lead World Cup podium. Obviously things don't have to go perfectly straight away, but I'm feeling in good shape and I just want to see where I'm at and have fun and try and climb and perform my best. This season I want to get more World Cup finals and I want to get more World Cup podiums. In an ideal world, I'd like to get 2 World Cup golds, 1 in Boulder and 1 in Lead, because that's like a massive life goal of mine. And we've also got World Championships this year in Seoul, and I'd love a medal in either Boulder, Lead or combined. I just would like a World Championship medal around my neck. Thank you very much. I have like 2 main goals, and that is 1, a World Cup podium, and 2, just attending the Olympics, not necessarily even making finals or podiuming, simply attending it. I think I can achieve it, it's just a lot of work and a lot of people who need to help me to get me there.